Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With practice and qualifying in the books from Kansas, Brian and I are in to break down everything from a DraftKings perspective, as well as look at the updated outright odds, where the line's gone, what numbers have moved. Is there anybody worth grabbing at this point? Obviously, we will have our full newsletter, aoppodcast.substack.com. Once again, aoppodcast.substack.com, completely free to check out. Give us a subscribe if you're enjoying that. Also, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're enjoying it. Everything over here. If you've been with us for a while, appreciate that. You know, football's gaining a lot of traction for people's eyes and ears, but Brian and I are here twice a week. Brian hates football, even though he does it every day. It probably is a little symbiotic relationship there. But Brian Twining, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a good day of college football, as you said. Practice went off without a hitch in the first group, and then the second group happened, which was utter chaos. And of course, Penske maybe trying to cheat a little bit, or testing to the extreme limits of this new tire combination, as we saw Ryan Blaney wreck, Joey Logano have an issue, and Austin Cindric, third best car in the second group.
Run out of gas, run the tires till they fall off.
Yep.
Then you know where that line is. You just pull it back like quarter of a half a millimeter. Yeah. So let's jump into the player pool. Let's run through the pricing and let's talk through what we saw in practice, what we saw qualifying, some thoughts, some initial leans, some initial whatchamacallits, and then obviously we'll build at least 3 lineups, and then we'll hop over and look at outright odds. So let me do one of these and we'll talk through it. Kyle Larson, 11K, could dust the field, could wreck himself. Nobody knows. Ryan Blaney starting 37th. Denny Hamlin 2nd. Christopher Bell 5th. Byron 11th. Let's start here. Larson, Hamlin, Bell. Is it as easy as just taking Larson? Or from a DraftKings perspective, if you're thinking early dominator, runaway, hide, is there a discussion to be had around Denny Hamlin and or Chris Bell?
I prefer Hamlin over Bell. And yes, Kyle Larson unloaded with an absolute rocket ship in practice. Mind you, being part of that second group, they only got to run 4 laps green before the Blaney incident, which kind of ruined any long run pace on the fresh tires. Yep. But even after they came back out, Kyle Larson was a good 10.5, 2/10 better than everybody on the short run, which we saw the same thing in the spring, only for his car to die at the very end. So I do expect Larson to fire off extremely well come race day and probably get to the front rather quickly and lead a shit ton of laps. But I also think that Denny Hamlin, whose practices we've kind of become accustomed to taking with a grain of salt, he is going to be a contender as he's starting up near the front. And so I don't know what the roster percentages are going to look like here, but I do think that Larson will probably garner more attention. And so I think maybe leaning Hamlin could be a nice little way to get a little bit different in some of your lineups.
Yeah, we'll have to see once our friends over at Win the Race, put up their projections and kind of figure out where those tipping points are. But very interested to see those combinations. I do think it's interesting that Hamlin, Bell, and obviously Chase Briscoe put it on the poll. All are starting inside that top 5. Now, is that just a product of them having really good qualifying and maybe some short run speed, or do we think that's a positive sign as we head into Sunday that they could all easily be in the mix and be, guys that make a lot of sense as the early dominators from that JGR camp?
Yeah, I just think that with all those guys qualifying up there, it was kind of expected with this being the playoffs, where they went off during qualifying, this being an intermediate traditional track, the first one we've been to since Charlotte back in May. So obviously it's not a surprise to see those guys qualify where they did.
Yep.
Maybe more so for somebody like Christopher Bell, who has been kind of just mulling around every Sunday on tracks that aren't short tracks, I guess. And so, I expect all of them to perform well. But again, like Kansas is a little bit of a different animal, especially with this new tire combination and a little bit more fall off than what we've seen possibly in the past. Could present some weirdness to the race.
Let's talk Ryan Blaney, 10-7, really compelling from a guy that we traditionally expect to do well. Intermediates can do well at Kansas. Clearly starting 37th is going to be, a lot of room for him to move forward, to nail some fast laps. We know Penske's ability to take 2 tires, stay out a little longer, come in short pit, and then go back out. Like, there's lots they can do. Is he going to be somebody that's far too rostered and maybe not really worth the juice, isn't worth the squeeze? Or do you think even if we start with a Larson, that Blaney should be the next click and then kind of figure it out from there?
The first lineup I went to make, and again, I only make one lineup a week usually, was easy click Larson Blaney. Yeah. Something you and I were talking about prior to jumping on here. The only driver in the field that has literally nothing to lose in this race is Ryan Blaney. Yeah. And we know how fast he's been at every friggin' track this year, especially the intermediates. And the lack of practice, it doesn't scare me one bit with this car. I expect them to be a rocket ship. I expect them to move up through the field rather quickly, especially with how quick Austin Cindric was, and knowing that Penske is probably the lone team in the field that really does go out there with different setups for all 3 cars with the plan of gathering information for their entire stable. So I expect the 12 to be awesome and move through the field quickly.
Yeah. I think the idea is to get different elsewhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think there is a scenario where, say, Blaney gets caught up in somebody else's bullshit, which has happened multiple times before. And, I don't think you can roster him in all of your lineups, because then you're setting yourself up for disaster. And so you will have to get a little bit different at the top here, but he is an auto click. Pretty much in cash, probably like 90+% roster.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 100.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the 9Ks, where we can talk about Chase Briscoe as a potential pivot if you're looking for another dominator. Tyler Reddick will be starting 12th at 97, Logano 35th. If you want to pivot off of Blaney and go to Logs, I know he's not as sexy and doesn't have that. Maybe he doesn't have that winning upside, but I think he could do a lot of unique things. And all of a sudden he's running 7th and finishes in the top 5. And you're like, how the hell did that happen? And then Chase Elliott starting 4th. So let's talk Briscoe and Elliott. Do you think there's a path to either of those guys being potential early dominators? And then we'll jump into Reddick, and then we'll jump into Logano.
Well, you can throw Chase Elliott in the trash in terms of DFS. Like, Ace is not going to be running at the front. 4th is probably his ceiling result this week. And do I expect him to probably finish where he starts? Quite possibly. Now, Chase Briscoe, on the other hand, let's just go through this quickly. Started on the front row at Darlington, led a 309 laps, won the race. Started on the front row at Iowa, short track, I get it. Led a 81 laps, finished 2nd. Indianapolis, started on the pole, finished 18th, that sucks, but he led 34 laps and was the victim of an ill-timed caution. Dover, started 2nd, finished 2nd, led 13 laps. Hold on, I'm still going here. Michigan, started 1st, led 11 laps, finished 23rd, so that kind of sucked. And then Charlotte, he started on the pole, finished 3rd, only led 1 lap. But again, he only fell back 3 spots in that race in this exact same package at the last track that translates the best to Kansas. And going back to Kansas spring, before he had even figured out the car with JGR, he started 19th and finished 4th. So they didn't have the speed that they had now, and they still figured out a way to get track position and get to the front. I do think Chase Briscoe, starting where he is a danger to the field and quite possibly the most dangerous guy to the field because we know how good he is when he's out front in clean air.
Yeah. Yeah. And if he gets to the front and has it, it's just 9-9.
We know how fast that
Well,
car
he's
has
hard.
been
He's
beat fastest.
really, really hard to pass. Like,
Exactly.
even when he doesn't have as much speed or as much tires, he knows how. And obviously, being in this car in general, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, no, I think it's a phenomenal point. Let's talk Reddick. Starting 12th, had an amazing start to his 23-11 run at this track. Obviously, Kurt Busch got the win with 23-11 the year before. He got the win in this very same race in 23, but then 24, he was 20th and 25th, running top 10 in both of those at one point, but terrible finishes. And then started top 5 in the spring this year and finished 17th. Is there interest in Reddick? Like, we've kind of famously just jumped off that bandwagon because it's been a disaster ride. But I'm wondering, I don't know, like, is there something there, or is he easy just avoid and find somebody like Josh Berry starting 13th who has much upside, less downside, and basically starting in the same spot?
I honestly, I don't know which direction to go with Reddick this week because again, we're just ignoring Riley Herbst here, but of the 23-11 cars, Bubba Wallace looked better to me in practice, unloaded with faster
He
short
always
runs.
does. The story of the season is Reddick and Bubba basically flip-flopping each other in terms of
I feel like
best, who
Bubba
has upside.
Is Reddick from last year in terms of that he's been the better car more consistently. And I think the same can be said here. Now, if this track does move up to the top and we're talking about a race that goes 75% of you have to be at the top to run really fast, yeah, I think Reddick can be fine. But I think there's also a worry of just the lack of speed that this team has had in this package this year as well. Outside of Darlington, where he was stuck behind Chase Briscoe and couldn't pass him because of the aero situation.
Yeah.
Reddick really hasn't been impressive in this package at tracks that he has been in previous years. So he's not somebody I'm running to play. I don't hate a Hail Mary play on him, but I really don't know which direction to lean.
Yeah, well, because as we kind of turns, we can jumble in some of the 8K guys where we have Buescher starting 15th, Barry starting 13th, Ross starting 9th, Bubba, his teammate, starting 7th. Like, there's a discussion to be made where all of those guys make more sense, where you're saving over $1,000. They're starting relatively same position. Do you feel better about all of those guys? Obviously, Barry got the win, in Vegas. We know what Buescher can be of the RFK guys at intermediates. We seem to like him the best. Ross has the upside, but also I don't know if he's going to have the elite speed, but maybe that doesn't matter. I guess, where are you at with kind of that whole group in terms of Reddick, Bubba, Chastain, Barry, and Buescher? Is there a standout of that group, or are they all kind of the same and you'll just take the discount and figure it out?
Well, Chris Buescher was, I won't say as a whole, probably the best car in the first group from what I kind of watched and all the lap times that I was jotting down.
Yeah.
It just was really solid, stereotypical for RFK, or the best RFK car to go out there. And then he qualifies 15th, which is actually a really good starting position. I do think he's going to be solid, top 10 car probably. Wallace probably starting a little bit further front than I would have liked in terms of DFS play. And then Chastain, very similar. He looks like he unloaded with really good short run pace, but in practice, albeit again, let me reiterate, like the second group got screwed with the caution. So it's hard to kind of tell how the long run pace these guys have. He did fall off a little bit quicker than the rest of the like top tier guys who are in front of him and some of the guys that are behind him.
Yeah, no, I think
Barry didn't even like make my list of guys that I was monitoring his lap time. So he's just kind of another guy.
Okay.
Now he could surprise and be there. I mean, Barry has become a dude like a Denny Hamlin, where practice doesn't really mean a whole lot for them because he's kind of feeling the car out, feeling out the long run pace and that type of stuff. And then on come race day, he's much quicker.
Crashing in stage 1.
Hey, last week the grenade almost went off. It didn't fully explode.
Last week was the anomaly.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Let's talk some Joey Logano. Starting 35th, 9,200.
He dropped anchor from the start of practice. It was another, I can't remember what track it was earlier this year where he legitimately had the worst car. And that's including the 51, the 66, like everybody in the field. He was terrible once again.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of finishes around the same spot no matter where he starts. He started 34th and finished 17th. He started 29th and finished 17th. I don't know, man. I definitely think there's a world where you click Blaney Logano and whoever your favorite dominator is and go from there, and it feels really nice. Maybe that's better plan for cash than it is for tournaments. But I just I don't see him starting 34th and just being in like the late 20s, early 30s like all day. But maybe
the one thing I will add on Logano is that he recognized a problem and prevented himself from wrecking like Blaney did early on. So he got to do that. And then his qualifying lap, he definitely didn't go all out. So I think that car definitely has more speed than what he showed in qualifying. And maybe the setup was already kind of broken when they unloaded, because Penske, like I already said, they definitely unloaded with 3 distinctly different setups, testing them to see which one was going to work best for their cars. And
turns out none was the answer.
Well, no, Austin Cindric's car was great. Cindric's car was fantastic. And then, of course, he just biffs his qualifying lap in turn 3, just like he did last weekend.
Austin Cindric, man.
Yeah, like if Blaney or Logano was in Cindric's car, they're probably starting inside the first 3 rows.
Yeah, so they know what to do. They know how to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that with Logano looking like shit in practice, you might get a little bit of a discount on him this week.
Yeah, man.
But there's also a possibility he gets lapped in stage 1 by Kyle Larson or Chase Briscoe.
And then he's like Cody wearing it in like stage 2 and wrecking somebody for no reason.
He's gonna take out Ty Gibbs this week.
Oh God, please give it to me. Denny's sending him $20 in Bitcoin.
Right.
All right, that gets us through 8K. Yeah, that hits on everybody. Let's go to the mid pack. Bowman, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric, Carson Hocevar round out the 7K. Are you in on Cindric then, like because of the speed, or do you think he's just Austin Cindric and he'll do something stupid, but Penske overall should be fine?
In a vacuum, removing the most recent race, I think Austin Cindric would be a smash play. But when you get out of the vacuum and you look at the name that's driving the car and the lack of ability to actually drive through the field this season, it becomes much more difficult to actually want to play him. The car itself is amazing, but I don't trust the driver to be making moves to make up the track position. So I think you have to roster him, but you have to keep it light.
Yeah, like he's been so bad. It was 17th at New Hampshire, 30th at Bristol, 19th at Gateway. I know these are different track types.
But the thing is and that's the problem, is he has an elite car. He has a very fast car. Yeah. It's like him and Ty Gibbs shook hands and said, let's see who could do less with better this season.
Hold my beer while I wreck this thing.
Seriously. They're both getting rocket ships and they just cannot execute.
Yeah, like he should have been a top 10 car at Iowa. He was 12th. He should have been a top 10 car at Indy. He was 15th. He was 30th at Sonoma. He's 27th at Chicago Street. He's 38th at Atlanta. Like he has 2 top 10s since he won Talladega. And that's back in end of April.
Yeah.
Like-
And we don't count super speedways as.
Yeah. I'm gonna let other people pile in on him. I have no interest. Kyle Busch we can mark off, right? We don't have to.
Oh, Kyle Busch
do
is
that.
an absolute cross off for the rest of the year. I don't care if that guy shows up with Ross Chastain's car from Charlotte.
Let's do this. Is there anyone in the 7K range that you actually want to click? Because to me, Alex Bohm. Like, I have nothing.
Personally, I don't mind playing Cindric, but in very minimal lineups though. Like you have to cut back on the percentage that I would usually want to play on a guy that unloaded with that type of car, and factor in the Cindric.
I would rather let the field jump in on him and wait for him to crash. If I want some Cindric exposure, I'll look over at the betting board and take his 50-1 and call it a day.
Yeah.
Or a top 5 or something. If he pops, I want him to pay out. I don't think the risk versus reward on DraftKings is there. Do you have any interest in Hocevar or Gibbs?
Hocevar, not so much in DFS, but definitely dude is just fast. He's fast everywhere. And I mean, he's gonna race aggressively. He's not racing for much other than wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like they feel like I'd rather bet than.
It's hard to get to Hocevar in DFS when he's starting 6th, though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk 6Ks because I think that could be more interesting. Priest, McDowell, Dinger, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, John Hunter, SVG. Priest, McDowell, Dinger is.
Well, Michael McDowell, you can throw out the window.
Okay.
Not only did Travis Peterson get ejected this morning because they made an adjustment after they went through inspection after failing twice, but McDowell has to do a drive-through penalty after taking the green flag, after starting at the rear of the field as well. So he's completely dead in DFS.
Yeah. I mean, he's completely dead. He's dead.
He's toast. Yeah, you cannot play him because you're automatically losing 16 spots to begin the race or 17 spots, and then he's going to go a lap down in all likelihood.
Imagine being Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gilliland, and having the same outright price as somebody who has to start last, take a pass through on green flag, and then come back and then still try and win the race.
Mind you, we're also talking about sports books who don't correlate their placements or their matchups to their outright card.
I know, Brian, but it's more fun to joke around about those guys being jabronis. I guess let's put it this way. John Hunter, SVG. Do you dare Eric Jones?
If Eric Jones had qualified where John Hunter Nemechek did, he would have been my first click.
So do we like that, though? Because when we've seen Legacy be pretty good at a lot of different tracks, and they tend to be coming along together.
I'm not going to poo-poo the 43 in DFS. I mean, starting 10th is way further forward than I would like. That being said, we kind of had some exposure to Hocevar last week at a short track, starting inside the top 10, and he performed very well. And I think Eric Jones, very similarly, has been good in the past at this track type, and he showed up with good speed in practice. He was the sporty driver of the week. Yes, we have one on the long run here in the first group. It's just hard to play him when he's starting 10th.
Yeah.
Especially when you have all those guys starting behind him. I mean, Blaney, Busher, like AJ Allmendinger starting 20th. I think he's going to be somebody that probably garners some attention too, because he was decent in practice as well.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not completely out on it, but it does feel like you have to you need to do like Logano and Blaney and Larson, and then throw in Eric Jones as like the one unique piece, and if that hits, then you win all the money. That's where my head's at.
Yeah. I mean, you said Jones, you could play Hocevar to get like super unique, because I highly doubt there's going to be other people that are messing around with that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens when we start putting it together. I think John Hunter is sort of interesting. Gregson's out. Suarez is out. Stenhouse is out. Zane Smith is out. Zane
So
Train
the
2.3.4.
Zane train was choo-chooing along early on in practice, and about 8 laps in, I was about to say he was the sporty driver of the group, and then he kind of fell off a little bit harder than I had liked. But he seemed to like his car. He got a little bit. He went too deep into turn 3 during his qualifying lap, so I think he qualified worse than what he should have. But same conversation as Austin Cindric. Are we going to see him drive through the field? Like, he's going to need strategy to make up the positions.
No, but Zane Smith's starting 28th and he's 5,500. It's a lot more easy to stomach.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, he's one of my favorite plays for sure, but I don't want to get too over excited about it.
It's just like the guys, I don't know. It just seems like the names that you'd want to target are either starting too far forward, and the guys that are in theory in play are starting too far back or just stink.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, we'll start building lineups here in a second, but if we want to play Logano, well, you don't play Logano, but I want to play Logano and Blaney and Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin. We're gonna have to get in on some of these jamokes, and I just don't know who it is.
Plug and play, man. Plug and play.
But who are we plugging? Who, I plug our nose and play all of them?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this week, because of the type of track we're at too, you can definitely pepper your lineups with a couple of these guys, because there's a strong possibility that all these guys outperform what they look like in practice, just based on when a caution comes out or they get weird on strategy. Like,
So we definitely can't play Suarez, right?
no, Suarez is completely gone. That team is done for the season. They've checked out.
Yeah. I mean,
he's toast. He's toast, Kyle.
all right. Well, I guess the only thing to do now is build lineups and see where we have, how gross we have to get. Who do we want to dominate?
Let's just start at the top of the board. Kyle Larson.
What's the next click?
The cheapest one we can get. I like Zane Smith. I think you like Zane Smith.
I'm good with Zane. Do we need a double click down here?
I don't know if we need to double click. We could go to Logano. What is Logano's price right now?
92.
Yeah, see, he might be a little bit too expensive, but
I mean, if we play like Justin Haley or Todd Gilliland, or
I don't mind Haley, honestly.
it's just like,
I do think what is Allmendinger?
that's a good call. I kind of like the Dinger. I think he's like more like 7K though.
66.
66. Let's
put Dinger and see what we can work with.
And then we can get up to, then we can put Priest in.
Okay, but what can we get if we play Haley? Because I'd rather try to maximize. So you can go to Barry or Busher.
Busher.
All right. So do you like playing Busher starting 15th better than Priest starting 19th?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I think we go this direction, because you're also getting 2 spots with Haley, who, if we like Carson Hocevar, McDowell looked decent as well. Now, obviously, he's toast, but Spire came with some speed.
Okay. I see where we're going though. Like, there's names down here. You're not going to feel like great about it.
Wait, you're going to play Barry, not Busher?
Just kidding. I don't know why. I guess I got distracted.
I don't hate Barry, but I like Busher.
No,
better.
I'd rather play Busher. I'm wearing the
Yeah.
Busher shirt. I'm gonna play Busher.
Yeah.
All right, that looks fun. So I have a pick, choose your own adventure here, and I'll let you decide where we go. You can play Chase Briscoe as your dominator, or we double tap Legacy with John Hunter and Eric Jones.
Let's do Chase Briscoe with the Dominator. Thank you very much. Yeah, I have zero interest in double tapping Legacy, my friend.
I'm definitely going to be single entering a couple Legacy lineups. We'll see how it goes.
Oh my gosh.
What's the next click? Is it Dennis? Yeah, no, I guess we have our Dominator.
Yeah,
Do
but I
you want to
think
do
that
Blaney again? Do you want to do Logano? Do you want to do a Chastain with Suarez?
No, I don't want any piece of mi amigo. He is gone. He is no longer part of the
Keselowski?
conversation. Who?
Keselowski?
No. The old guy. Okay, the super old guys. I'll be Denny.
I'm not gonna
we
like
can
bet him for a
exclude
top 10, but like
we can exclude Denny from this conversation. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch, they're well past their ability to compete in the Cup Series, in my opinion. And I really don't have any interest in him here. Him and Busch are gonna be fighting for DFL. Okay. But if you're gonna play Briscoe, which is already different from Larson, I actually don't mind playing Briscoe with Larson because this is a place we're getting 267 laps. I think both of them can stay out front. Both lead probably 60, 70 laps determined on like pit cycling and battling up front all day. And then you're going to be getting a ton of points just based on fastest laps led. And then you can get different with the back end guys.
let's work through this though. I think if there's a world where Larson is clearly the best car and he dominates 90% of the race and he is the dominator. I do think there's a world where if you want to double tap early dominators, I think you go Denny Hamlin or Chris Bell and do the JGR thing and expect them to kind of split the race up. I think if you go Larson, I think you want to just go Larson and not much else in terms
That's
of
a good thought process.
guys in the first, especially that first stage or two.
Yeah, I can see that.
So if you want to do Briscoe with Hamlin or Bell, I don't hate it. But I'm not necessarily running to the board to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, Briscoe kind of puts you into a very narrow build.
Yeah. But that, I mean, then we could just...
Yeah, I like that much better than Logano, to be honest with you. Okay, so now let's go to the bottom. And let's see what we can do here. So we did the Zane train last time. We did Haley. Okay, what if we do Allmendinger in this one? Okay. And then I don't hate it. If you want to do John Hunter, and then we go up to 9,800. Oh, man. No, okay, first of all, that's not where I thought for sure you were just going to go immediately to the 22. It wouldn't shock me if they all performed.
Yeah, I think if we buy the dip at Reno and play all three of them, I think it's fine. We have $600, so if we want to upgrade Nemechek to McDowell or Dillon, which doesn't feel like an upgrade.
McDowell is toast. He's got to go to the back.
Yeah, I know.
You could upgrade Dinger. Because what? How much we got?
That gets us up to Hocevar.
Yeah, but he's starting. Yeah, he's already starting up front. But I think very similar to here, like the way that this build is that you don't want to counterbalance all of the placement points you're going to get with the Penske guys with Hocevar, who's probably going to go backwards.
Yeah, and I think
Right?
if we did the host of our thing, we'd want to pair him with like a Larson or a Denny or somebody who's a little
Yeah,
more.
to make sure we have somebody who's fairly solid in the
Yeah, I
front.
mean, not that Briscoe's not, but like he definitely feels like a tear down. Although maybe he shouldn't. I don't know. And
What
you're
about
definitely
Priest?
Dinger over Priest.
So I was just gonna say, maybe Priest just because he has less crash outs, not necessarily like actual wrecks, but just on the track where they like
Yeah,
he loses his mind in the car and then
right.
something happens on pit road.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's build one more.
All right, this one's all you. I think we got to avoid Logano for sure.
Byron, is he just kind of a stuck in the middle of like 14th to 8th all day and just kind of there?
I
Like
think
we
Byron
we
could get a top 5, but from where he's starting, I just don't envision him leading a ton of laps or getting a bunch of fastest laps or anything of that nature.
he was the popular, everyone was on him, and I was like,
Yeah, but he qualified like shit. That's the problem with him. Very similar to Briscoe is like when they don't qualify well. Yes, Briscoe debunked this at Bristol when he drove to the front.
odds
But
are moving on the outright board.
Byron, like he's harder to get behind when he's not.
You want to get real gross? I know
Sure.
you don't, but you do.
We can't have Logano in 3 lineups.
Well, what do we want to do though? Because if we're not, I don't think, should we just play Blaney in all 3 lineups and say it's stupid to not play him?
I mean, it probably is.
Okay. Um.
All right, do we finally do Dinger? Yeah. Is this either John Hunter Nemechek or Zane Smith? Just to plug in a cheap guy and then see
Well,
where we
I was thinking, but I don't know if I don't know what to make of Ross Chastain. Maybe he's just a better bet and not a good DraftKings play.
It's just hard with them because he didn't show up with elite practice pace. He didn't qualify up at the front. Can he surprise on Sunday? Sure, but he's probably more likely to just be a 5 through 8, 5 through 10 place car. Then you're not getting very many placement points. I don't think he has elite speed to get those fastest laps.
I mean, he led 43 and 52 laps in at this track last year.
Yeah, well, 2025 is drastically different than 2024.
That's fair.
Honestly, I've kind of stopped looking at last season's results at this point in the season and just gauging everything based on this year's performances.
All right, if we want to do that, what about Bubba Wallace and Riley Herbst?
Oh, Riley Herbst is a doo-doo. He's gonna wreck.
Okay. Do you like the Bubba click?
I don't hate Bubba. Because they are. He said they're not in like must-win mode or desperation mode, but I think that was a little bit more like, as we would say in like NFL or team sports, like coach speak, in the sense that,
Well, and it's also something where all of a sudden you're running top 3, your plans change.
yeah, like I think he's going to be a top 10 car all day.
Yeah, but is he going to be a top 10 car all day, or can he actually get forward, compete, and be, if he doesn't win, be right there with Denny for the win?
Yeah, I don't know if he can.
Let's take him out.
Yeah, I don't know if he can win.
What's the click? Is it Ty Gibbs? Is it
Ty Gibbs sucks. I'm not ever backing him again.
Ryan Preece, Eric Jones? We could do the.
If you want to get really weird, we can go Eric Jones.
Let's do Eric Jones and John Hunter.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. And then
This is gross.
Tyler Reddick.
And then we do Reddick, like just complete F it lineup.
I don't know. Well, I guess it's fine. Like, I don't love a 2nd, a 10th, and a 12th,
Yeah.
but I don't hate it.
I
guess if
really
we-
don't hate it at all.
I
I think Reddick, because he qualified a little bit better and he didn't look terrible in practice, but it wouldn't shock me if they found something and he was back competing near the front at the end of the
I guess
race.
my question to you is, if we like Reddick, it's because the high line comes in and he's a legitimate challenger. Should we be building a Reddick Larson lineup instead of a Reddick Hamlin lineup?
No, because I do think you got to have Hamlin at some point, because I think Denny's going to be incredible.
No, I understand that, but like, does Reddick make more sense in a Larson lineup than in a Hamlin lineup? Should we pull Reddick out of this one, go back to our Larson lineup, and try and switch it up so Reddick's in that one, not this one? Or
Well, okay, so contrary
overthinking
or devil's advocate to that, if we like Reddick, does that also mean that the Toyotas refound something here on the long run and Chevy's kind of dip? So
I love it. I
so he
love
should
I
be
love the
put with
pivot.
Denny.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
we know Denny can make speed here, even if the line moves up to the very, very top on the wall. That doesn't matter to the 11. He can find.
And it could be
speed at the
Denny
track.
running his race and Reddick running the high line.
Exactly.
And Larson's
yeah,
in the
catch up.
garage because he wrecked like in stage 2. And
Larson's in the garage because Denny wrecked him.
Oh baby. All right, I love it. That's the lineup of the century of the week. That one feels really good. And by bad, I mean good. Should we recap the card and look at where we're at and then talk through it? So I have Briscoe at 16, and then I took Byron over Larson just because it was plus money. We'll see if it comes through. I'm a little worried, but it could be fine. You also are on it with Briscoe and then Josh Berry at 40. So let's look at the updated odds. I will refresh this just to make sure that it's up to date. And we can talk through it. Larson inside 3-1, basically everywhere. Hamlin inside 6-1 or at 6-1, basically everywhere. Byron, Bell, Briscoe, Chase Elliott, that's 10-1 and inside. With the additional information, do you have thoughts? Do you have feelings? Do you have anything you want to bet? Anything you like inside from 10-1 and shorter?
Well, I can tell you, we've talked about this all year. Not on a road course, I'm not betting anybody plus 280.
Yeah, it's hard. If you don't have live lines and you want to bet Larson, like, got it. But
shoot for it, yeah.
I'm
Now, Denny
very
Hamlin,
curious to see what his odds are.
Yeah, I will say Denny, when he reopened at 6, I did look at that. That was something that piqued my interest.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that 6 number is really compelling because we could be in stage 2 and all of a sudden he's led 70% of the race and looks awesome, and his live line is plus 240 or something, and you feel really good about having that in your pocket. But
yeah,
I don't know. Is Bell too short inside 10-1? Or is that about right, even though we don't want to bet
honestly, I can't get Christopher Bell right now.
Yeah.
I went back and I reconciled my card up to date, and the only time I've hit Christopher Bell to win this year was live.
Yeah.
So I think for him, you probably want to wait to see what kind of car he has, and you'll probably get a longer number than this on him, and you'll know if he's got something for the leaders.
Any interest if you haven't bet Briscoe at 8?
No.
Okay. You need double digits for sure.
Not with how strong Larson and Hamlin looked.
Yeah. Let that come to fruition. Reddick, Bubba, Blaney, Chastain, Hocevar, Chris Buescher that's inside 25. I'm gonna add Ryan Blaney.
I'm
I know
already doing
just
it, sir.
add it for
you.
me, please. I know he's starting 37th. I know
That's stupid.
backup car, but like as good as Blaney's been all year, I can't not add him. I can't not add him.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that he would be posted at that. Yes, he's starting in the back, but we've already seen a car, Ross Chastain, do this in Charlotte. And the one thing I will say about Blaney, yes, we didn't get to see his practice, but with how good Cindric looked, the last few weeks, I think it's come. Everybody should realize it's been 12-22 in practice. So if Cindric looked like he did, there's a good possibility that Blaney over the longer run probably is better than that and right up there with Larson and Hamlin.
If you have live betting options, is it a wait and see if he's moving forward and maybe even get a little bit longer of a number? Or do you maybe just nibble this now, and if he looks like he's awesome, then you just bet it again?
If Blaney starts moving forward quickly, this number will be slashed because sportsbooks are not stupid. That's why he's 20 starting in the back. He has been the most consistently fast car every single week. I will stand by that statement until he wins the championship in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter track type. That 12 car is ridiculous. Or as the kids say, OP this year.
Is that what the kids say?
I think that's what they say. I don't know.
I think they say 6, 7.
Oh, dude. That is the dumbest.
I just think about the stupid stuff we said when we were kids, and like kids just say dumb things, and then it ends up becoming popular, and everybody's saying it.
Little sidebar tangent here. This shouldn't shock anybody, but my favorite commercials are I think they're Progressive or whatever they are, and it's how to not become your parents.
Yeah. And you've been your parents since you were like 14.
Those commercials speak to me.
Yeah. Ross Chastain, I've like kind of been in on him. We couldn't really get to him. I have a 25 looking at me.
It's kind of what I was saying remember? Like, I didn't like the 20 number. I felt it was too short because he was only going to reopen a couple dollars cheaper if he looked really good. And then if he wasn't fantastic, he's probably going to be the same. And now he's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody you have to wait because he could just be, again, like I said, a 5th through 10th place car, have zero pace for the leaders. And I don't know. He's a little bit harder to.
Is this where you get your host of our exposure?
I don't know if you could play 22. He was like 40 in places, 40, 50 pre-practice.
Well, sure, but it's not pre-practice, so you're unwilling to bet it.
So here's the way that I would approach this race from a live betting standpoint. Stage 1, you better put away the sports book. Take your fingers and tie them up to where you cannot click any buttons here to add numbers.
I'm going to text Brian so much tomorrow.
Because there's a really good chance that stage 1 is absolutely dominated by Kyle Larson or Chase Briscoe. And all these numbers stay the same. You got to wait until about halfway through the second stage, as we're getting closer to the third stage, to see who the real players are. And if Larson's still kicking the shit out of everybody, their numbers are probably going to float. And so you're going to get longer. That's the way that
might be the best piece of advice this podcast has ever given out. Just be patient.
Because if Larson's opening at plus 280, and the books expect that and say this is similar to last week where like Blaney just went out and kicked the shit out of other than Barry, but this could be like the Bristol race where Larson just smoked everybody and it would have been a fool's errand to try to play anybody else.
Yeah, I hate that because there's always long numbers on guys that I really like and feel like are contenders, and it's the books get me. Can't be doing that. Do you like any of the longer stuff? I obviously you don't like Logano, but that is sort of interesting to me. You bet Josh Berry pre-practice, you can still get it about where you were. Do you have any interest there? Eric Jones, like, is there a name in here that you can consider? All right, nibble on it and see what happens.
So Eric Jones is 40 at ESPN. I don't hate that one bit because we've already seen him a couple of times this year mix it up near the front, and the books are getting a little bit wiser to him and the legacy cars and maybe some of the back markers, because a month ago he'd probably reopened in that 60-70 range and he would be an absolute smash. So if you like Eric Jones, I don't hate playing the 35 or the 40. Obviously, a little nibble, and then you could probably add more.
Yeah.
The race again if he's starting to show the ability to stay up there or even make up track position.
Cindric is 50.
Yeah, but kind of like what I said in DFS. I mean, do we trust Cindric to drive through the field or even do anything like that?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't play that post.
You're playing Kyle Busch though for sure, right? 75.
If I could play the no price on Kyle Busch, I would probably.
You would have to lay like $300,000 to win like $5. Like it wouldn't be worth it.
Let me take out a second mortgage because Kyle Busch is not fucking winning. Okay.
All right. Anybody else or anyone that you're trying to get exposure to? Obviously, we're talking just as outrights have dropped. There's no placements or very few sites have much of anything. Is there drivers that you're like, I'm going to get them on the card? I don't know if it's matchups. I don't know if it's top 10s, but I'm going to find a way to get exposure to them that we've yet to discuss, or someone that maybe we have discussed that you're going to find ways to get them on the card.
I think Chris Buescher will be a player.
Okay. That's a name. And I think I don't think we got super optimistic about, like, we obviously added him in the lineup on DraftKings, but like if he's consistent, if he's considered like he's actually like maybe not a winner, but maybe a top 5, maybe a top 10, maybe a top Ford.
Yes.
That could be something that in DraftKings he goes a little overlooked because he's a little too expensive, a little too far forward. But if he finishes 4th and has a really nice day and you can get him at the betting window too, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think Buescher is somebody to keep an eye on whenever the market for top Ford opens. Because I think he's going to be really strong. And Blaney, with him starting so far back in the field, like obviously he's got to make up the track position, and yet he's probably still going to open as the favorite in that market and eat most of that hold.
He is the favorite. Our friends offshore have top Ford listed, and Buescher is tied with Blaney plus 350. Kels is 450. Logano is 6. Cindric is 8. Berry is 8. Priest is 11.
Okay, so right there, just on Buescher, for instance, you can get him plus 350 top Ford at 365 right now. Or you could play him top 5 at plus 375. But the top 5 market, honestly, I feel is much less likely to happen just because of how strong the Toyotas looked, how strong the Chevys looked. Whereas in the Ford camp, it's really Blaney. And that's a bit of the cars that I think could actually be faster than Buescher.
It could be a top, like you could get an 8th place finish.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, it could be a situation where he's finishing 8th or 9th and he wins the manufacturer.
I like it. I like it a lot. As always, make sure you go back and check out our newsletter. If you are not subscribed to it currently, it's completely free. It comes to your email inbox every race day. We put a lot of effort, a lot of work into it. So we really appreciate if you check that out. If you have thoughts, ways to tweak it going forward, we're always open to those ideas as well. A little recap of the card before we log out. Briscoe and Byron over Larson were my pre-practice bets. Obviously added Blaney at 20. The full betting card will be on the newsletter, so make sure you go check that out. Brian is Briscoe, Barry Blaney. So we're pretty heavy on outrights right now, and that's kind of it. We're going to look for matchups. We're going to look for manufacturer. We're going to look for other different ways to get invested. I think with Top Chevy, if you're betting that, you're just betting the guy to win the race or to get top 3, because Larson's going to be potentially so good, even though he eats up a lot of that. I think with Top Toyota, with Bell, Briscoe, Denny, even like Reddick, you could convince yourself that it's just better to bet the outright price. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe if you've yet to do that. Share us around with your friends who like betting, who like NASCAR, who likes DraftKings, who like any of that stuff. Trying to get to 1,500 subscribers by the end of the season. That would be great. We also will have our Grid Rival thoughts on our newsletter as well. AOP 25 gets you 100% match deposit up to $100. That is Brian Twining. I am Kyle Robert. Enjoy the race. Let's cash some tickets. Let's win some money on DK. And let's come back next week to recap it all. And we head to the Roval next.
The Roval is the final race of the round of 12. Yes.
Let me see if I can actually. I guess they don't have championship odds up. I was gonna say. I think we'll have a better idea on Tuesday if there's any value in the outright or in the championship market. If you like Reddick or you like Ross or any of those guys to win, I think you can nibble their championship future prices, as well as if you think they can win here, that maybe you split your bet 75-25, especially with the numbers that some of those guys have. But enjoy the race. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll talk to you next time.